Welcome back, everybody. We're going to start our second lecture. We did a little bit on our orientation day. Let me share my screen. I have Visual Studios 2022 hooked to the taskbar or the bottom bar on bottom. Open it up. You want to, I do a new project for every lecture. So I've seen some students just do a long running one and just comment out like the previous weeks. That's crazy because it's hard and shit to find stuff. But let's take a look at some stuff. Let's do our lecture, then we're gonna do a little bit more today. That's slightly different. I'm gonna do an empty project, and I'm gonna make sure that this says C++. And stupid zoom bars in the fact away again. And I'll call it CSCI 01, spring 2024, lecture day 2. And remember to create a new program. Right-click source, do an add, new item. It's probably a good idea to rename it to the right thing down here. So I'm going to actually make this at least somewhat match. I'm going to abbreviate a little bit to. And that'll give me my source file to start narrating. So remember, we need to include the IO stream. Something we need to do every time. And we're a big fan of using namespace std. And we can easily go int main void, curly braces, give us some space, put in return 0. And we've got the most simplest C++ program ever, even simpler than Hello World. Doesn't do a goddamn thing, but it will run. Done. All right, so today what we're doing, this is on, let's come up here and make some room. Put it up above, include. This is David Jones, spring 2024. It's always a good idea to put some comments at the top so people know what the hell's going on, that you look at your work. And we are looking at variables and data types today. So, what's a variable in mathematics? What's that, Jose? Oh no. Okay, I'll do it after class. Hold on a second, guys. Josue is never patient. Let me pause the record. You gotta register real quick. You gotta fill all this out. What's the CRN that I'm doing here? I don't know my CRNs very well.
It's going to be 28.
28, 141.
481. 481.
All right, you gotta fill out the rest of that. And I lecture live right now.
Okay.
It's for CSCI 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lecturing live right now. If you want to sit down and watch, or take it, go turn it in, and then come back and sit down and watch.
Yeah.
Normally, I do it live synchronously from 3 to 5, and then the videos will be up.
We're gonna need that program you're using right now. I know which one it is.
Yes.
Okay then.
All right, let me unpause. That was just pausing screen share. That did not pause the record. This will make a fun video later. What's a variable? What's a variable in math?
Something that stands for a number.
It's something that stands for a number. That works. I'm gonna say value because it's shorter. Guess what? Computer science, it's not really a whole lot different. It's a placeholder for a number that changes or can change in value. Or that can vary in value, hence the name variable. Variable comes from the word vary. The value of a variable can change, so it varies. So we have the same thing in computer science, but we're not just restricted to numbers. So for example, integers take up only 4 bytes of memory. Floats take up the same thing. And I generally don't like working with floats, just I prefer doing something else. Does everyone remember what an integer is from mathematics?
Whole number?
It's like a whole number, but it could be negative, right? Negative, positive, or 0, but there's no decimal places. So if we want decimal places, floats can have decimal places. And then the one that the majority of us used for decimal places is called the double. Double takes up 8 bytes of memory. And then characters, just typing in a letter, like we don't just store numbers, we store letters and stuff too, right? So characters actually only take up 1 byte. And so does the Boolean. The Boolean is only 1 byte. It's like yes, no, or on, off. It's a toggle. Which is great. It's something we can use where, depending on criteria, we turn something on or off. And when the code gets to it, when you're running the code, you go, is this on? Then run the program or run this section of the program. If it's off, skip this section. We'll be hitting that more later on. It's called a Boolean and it goes by bool. So Boolean goes by bool. Characters go by char. Double is just double. Floating point numbers are just called float. And integers go by int. Int, bool, those things, those are called data types. It tells us what type of data is stored in that variable. And I keep it like that. I know when I run it later on, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Okay. So what are we used to in mathematics? I like the number 13, x equals 13. Notice it has a red line underneath it. I've said I want x equal 13, but I haven't told it how much memory or what type of memory I want it to take up. So if I throw in front of it int x equals 13, what this does, it declares x to be an object of the type integer and assigns the value of 13. I can do the same thing with the other ones. Float y equals 7.2. Double pi equals 3.14. Char, my char equals, the way we store a letter or a character in C++ is the single quotation mark. Single quotation mark indicates characters. Okay. And what do we have? Bool, I'll just call it my toggle equals 1. So a little bit more about booleans. A boolean, if it is set to 1, let's do this another way. If it is set to 0, it means false. I'm going to say with a capital false. If it equals any other number, non-zero, it means true. Usually we toggle between 0 and 1. So I can show another toggle. My toggle 2 equals false. Notice that I can use numbers or words for the Boolean. For the Boolean, it takes in true, false, 0, or non-zero numbers. I can assign a bunch of doubles at once. You double A, B, C, D. I could say they all exist without assigning a value. This just declares the existence of the variables. This is called instantiation. You make an instance of the variable. As a reminder, I will copy and paste this all into the announcement, so you don't need to take pictures of each one. Save yourself some time.
I'm just behind.
Let me slow down. Let me pause. We got time. Ain't no rush. A lot of terminology in the beginning, so I'm trying to give the definitions here, describe what we're doing. Again, if there's something I don't cover that shows up on the quiz, you can look for it in the chapters in the textbook. Fuck, you can Google it. The point is, I want you to figure out or find out what it is. And there's some history questions of computer science on that first quiz. I will go over some of the computer history today after we're done with just this variables and data type stuff. Pro tip, if you have more than a day or two for an assignment, like a week for an assignment, and a special day falls on the due date, like say your birthday, asking for an extension because your birthday falls on the due date is a reason that you're going to get laughed at by your instructor. Whether or not they do it to your face or not, they're going to fucking laugh at you, hopefully. Because you've had a week to do it, and waiting for the due date just means you procrastinate. Like if it's a week long, you procrastinate 7 days. Asking for an extension is just saying, I wasted the last week. Someone asked for lab 1A and lab 1B, but they're not graded. So like it didn't matter either way. None of your labs are graded. They're there for you to do for practice. If you don't have the practice, you're going to be hurting. What is your name?
Jose W.
Jose. Okay. Jose, you look like the type of student that I don't want to piss off. Because you look like the kind of student that's going to just show up one day with a fucking rifle if you get too mad. I don't know why.
I'm not even white though.
Doesn't matter. What does why being white have to do with using a fucking assault rifle? Just because it's statistically more happened more often.
Media agenda.
I can't seem to log in. I had to log in before, but
Logged into the computer, or
right, I think the password.
is the caps lock on an accident?
No,
I can't help you with your password. The library can help you with the password.
but is there any way I could email it to some?
I don't know that they'll do that, because anyone could email with your information and say, yeah, I'm David Jones. I forgot people could walk in or go over there and say, yeah, or not, or just email and say, hi, I'm Instructor Jones. I forgot my login information. Can you send me a password link? And they would update my password, change my password, log in, and could change grades and do all sorts of shit. And they could tank you as well. I don't think they do that on. Are you sure you're just not like having an extra space or something? Are you hitting a space afterwards?
No, I feel like there's only 2 passwords that it could be, and I logged in like that, and it's not, it was not good. So I don't know if, I changed it.
Well, when was the last time you logged in? Did you change it since last Friday? Are you sure you didn't hit like something in your login name that's like miskeyed? To double check everything on your screen, like one character at a time. I don't turn the computer on and off. I don't know if it's the library is the people that can help you. I can't do it. I don't have access to your login information, and I don't have access to the login system other than me logging in as myself. It's to protect students. But if you want to run over there real quick and ask, you can. Yeah, you can check to see if they have a laptop. All right, I'm assuming everyone saw that, is ready to go. All right, so I've just done the instantiation or declaration of the variables, and then I can come along later on and assign these values. So here assignment happens after declaration. And I can reassign it. I'm gonna do a little quick C out of A and L. And then I'm gonna change A. You know what? I'm gonna do a little bit more. And I'm gonna put a little string in here. See out A equals Make a line that like prints more to the screen. So this should show A equals 13.007. I can come along and reassign it to a new value. 7.003. And now I can change, I'm going to copy this and put it below, and we'll just run it real quick and show the difference. A now equals and show how that's reassigning the variable. So variables are recyclable. If you're done using it for something, you can use it for other things. WTF. So variables are reassignable and recyclable. When you're done using it, you can use it for something else. If the variable name is generic enough. We're so used to using X, Y, Z, shit like that for variables in math, right? But I don't have to. I can make an integer. Juan age. How old are you, Juan? 20. And now the variable is Juan age. It's not just a single letter. So it's a good idea to name variables for what they're going to be used for. In a big project. If it's only like, 50, 10, 20, 30 lines, like a lot of your beginning projects are, it's not so much of a big deal because you can quickly see what it is. But in projects that have a lot of variables, how many times, if you've got 80 things you need variables for, you can't just keep using X's and X1, X2, X3, X, well, you could. But if it's not related to like something that's X related, maybe don't use X. If it's age related, have the word age in it. You will notice for variable names of more than one word, I start with lowercase and capitalize the remaining words. Capitalize the first letter of the remaining words. This is called camel case. It's got a hump. I could make a double that says average grade of CSCI students in spring 2024. Oh, I said double equals. Double that equals 3.2. Average grade, which maybe I should have like percentage. Let's go with like 83%. That's not readable. If you're going through this and trying to read what it is later on, that is terrible. But if I say average grade of CSCI, maybe do this, students in spring 2024 equals 17.5. Now it's easier to read. Now this is excessively long. But the point is, it's easier to read when it's on the screen like that. Notice I've got two variables of the same name other than capitalization. I spelled this exactly the same, other than some of these words are capitalized. So capitalization can change. Capitalization like X versus big X makes two different variables. Capitalization matters. In mathematics, X equals 13 and 13 equals X mean the same thing. In mathematics, I already had X equals 13 up top. Watch what happens if I try to do 13 equals X. Causes a problem. I won't be able to run. It thinks I'm trying to set 13 to equal X, and I have not made 13 a variable. So it's like, what is 13? Excellent. So the thing on the left is the variable. Must always be the variable. So I'm going to comment out that line right there and give you guys some time to write that, because I know I've been flapping my jibs. We could have a really fun case of where camel case is important. I'm sure you guys have all seen the jokes or memes with that stuff before. One of those reads a lot different than the other. And you never know, if you don't do camel case, you may not even notice it when you're writing it. How many of you have had when like foul language checkers were really fucking predominantly there? If you had a word that, if a foul language word was generated between like the end of one word and the start of the next one, even though there's a space in between, I've had it fucking bleep my words out. I'd be like, what's wrong with these words? And I have no idea. And it's recognizing, like, shit is a great one, because there's a lot of words that ends in SH and a lot of words that end or begin in IT. So I've had the word shit broken up, not known it, and if I can, like, the voice to text, I haven't happened in a while because I turned that shit off. But in the beginning, I was getting, you know, censored all the time. So spelling matters. This one is more clear. Redden won't give you one like that, Willie. That's a great example, isn't it? This is why it's called camel case. It looks like a hump. Each new word says a hump. Now that's a bucket thing, chocolate milk right there.
Yeah.
Those are really good. The protein milks, chocolate milks.
Yeah.
I had my wisdom teeth pulled last semester at the age of fucking like 48. I had my wisdom teeth pulled. I was so fucking terrified it was gonna hurt. And my wife bought like a 2-week supply of a week worth. Like the regular size chocolate milk Fairlife ones. Don't say I never had them. They're fucking good,
Yeah, dude, I don't know what they do to the cows, but
right?
it's amazing.
Fucking feed them cocoa plants all the time. I don't know. Shit's awesome. Didn't know it has a bunch of like you don't. It doesn't taste like a protein drink either,
Yeah,
even though they tend to be higher in protein than regular milk.
because comparatively to other protein shakes, it's just they use filtration. Other companies tend to put like actual protein powders.
There you go. You learn something every day. All right. I'm going to assume you guys are ready. Anyone need longer to type this? All right. So I said we could reassign variables, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to A. A equals. What if I want to enter like a decimal? And it's going to be a big decimal. What if I try to do like 45,465.07? Let's say that's my paycheck. It's not. I hit that colon and it automatically put a space in. Let's see what A looks like out. A looks like now. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. This is how you chain things together for C out using the insertion operator. Oops. Which is the double arrow. What happens? What does A look like now? A equals 45. So I put in the comma. In fact, I typed it without a space. It put in a space. And it's just saying the 465.07 is doing something else. It's not being recognized. Even if I don't have the comma in there, if I have it like that, that shit's even pissed off. Now it's like, I don't even like this. And doesn't even like it. It used to take it and just use the 45. So I'm going to make a note right here. No commas or spaces in numbers. When there's a space in there, it's trying to treat it as two different numbers and doesn't know what the hell we want. Can I just type a number and say go like that? I can. Look at this. I type 13 in a colon, and if I hit run, it doesn't show up the screen. This 13 doesn't show up because I didn't have a C out, but I can put numbers in. I don't know why you would. So that's what's happening with the comma right here. It's treating it like I've done A equals 45 colon and then 465.07 colon. Okay. But it's not seeing that out or not doing a C out. So it's unhelpful. Let's take a look at chars a little bit better. I'm going to call it F1 equals J for Jefe. Now I'm going to do char F2 equals J. And now let's see, do a C out here. F1 equals 1. Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? It looks kind of mad. Identifier J is undefined. This is actually helpful. They've updated Visual Studios. Juan, what did that used to spit out?
Just regular day.
Yeah. So this used to spit out the ASCII key code. So this did nothing. In some compilers or some IDEs, it will use J's ASCII value. Give you a second to write that down, and then we'll go look at ASCII values real quick. In fact, here, F1 is storing the ASCII value of the character J, not the letter J. Because computers work off numbers. The binary numbering system, binary numbers are only 0 or 1. That's how computers work. Computers are a giant series of toggles. On, off, on, off. A byte is 8 bits, and each bit is a toggle, on, off, 0 or 1. And so, did you figure it out?
I did out there, but now it's telling me it's wrong. And I just remember.
Try moving to the computer next to you. That's fucking weird.
It is. It's they gave me oh, and then I was typing in the right password and I tried to do it again and it said that I can't read it.
Huh. All right, let's go look at the ASCII table real quick. CSCI. Oh, this is some complicated shit. Let's see if I can enlarge it. So even decimals are recorded as numbers. Where am I looking here? Over here, character that's stored. The capital letter A is stored as 65. Lowercase a is stored as 97. So J here is stored as 106. The J is stored as 106, the decimal value. They have symbols for a lot of them. A lot of things have stuff like this. So char J or space actually has the value 32. Is it working there? Let me go take a look. Something on the screen that maybe. That's right. Oh, it changed it. Now it's assigned into ACAD. Four letters.
It's like when you go to the mechanic and your car's working perfectly fine then.
right? You're like, I don't know what's wrong. Everything I'm checking works. No, he had the full extension in, but it was already wanting to do the giant cos.edu. And so it's like, why are you telling me twice? Try it again though. Now that it went a little bit further, maybe you just miskeyed something on that one. You never know. All right. So I'm gonna do this. Check out this. Let's do see out F1's ASCII value is, and if I want to see the ASCII value of F1, which is the character J, I can say int F1. This says temporarily cast F1 as an integer and show its integer value. Try doing that at giant COS again. Now that it went a little bit further, maybe that's what it wants now. Like tinker with it, play with it. I think it also said sign into another domain. See what clicking on that does. It might open up the giant.cos.edu domain or something. I don't know. Or if you have a moment, if you could log out of COS on yours and let him try logging in on your laptop and seeing if it's just the computer.
Are you sure it's not JSON, like JSON? Yeah.
All right, let's click run, see what happens. It's showing its value. So when we said just see out F1, and I said I linked the F1 variable as is, F1 was assigned J, and so J is what was printed to the screen. But when I said cast it as an integer, it temporarily said, okay, what is F1's value as an integer? I come down here and actually rerun this and show you that it was only temporary. So we said F1 equals J, and then I cast it as an integer, and it showed me the integer value on the ASCII table. And then I just did another cout with the exact same F1, and you can still see J is what's stored there. So this is a temporary, like, let's pretend what the data type is if you did this. Does it work if we just go straight to it? If I say F2 equals 106, and I do a cout of F2, so I told you it stores the letters as integer values, and that's what I did here. I declared F2 to be a char. So it knows I want this to be a character, not a number. Even though I entered the number here, I entered 106 here, but I declared this as a char or character. So it knew to convert. Let me stop share for a second and see what I have on file for you. That way, I'll bring it right back up, guys. Let me just bring up students. Let's see. What's your last name? There's a lot of people in here. Scroll all the way down. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I have JSAN 6377. Try using the N. JSAN. It's the first letter of your first name and the first 3 letters of your last name. And then just a fucking random number, it seems like, for everything else. JSAN 6377. All right. I'm just try JSON. I don't give a fuck what they said. Let's see what works for you. All right, let's come back over here and where's my fucking share screen? Where's my Zoom? There's my Zoom. Share screen. We're back to here. For those of you that were still typing that in. Yeah, it's that N. I was surprised to see 3 letters too.
Yeah, I said the same thing, and then when he said he came back and he was like, "Oh, it's only okay." Maybe it's a short lesson.
I'm like, if it's only, yeah, that's the only way I could see it happening is, and then I wonder what they would do if your last name's only 2 letters.
Yeah.
Would they give you literally a 3-letter one, or would they just use the first 2 letters of your first name? I don't know. That's a fucking, I'm sure we've got students here with a 2-letter last name. All right. Everyone good so far? All right. So let's explore a little bit more. Oh, notice something here. Be kind in your coding. Put spaces in to separate shit. I'm going to show you what this line looks like without appropriate spacing. That's a little fucking harder to read. No spaces here, but same as the line above. Okay, so like line 61 is a hell of a lot more readable for you and for anyone else. And this is like a simple line. You can have some complex shit in here. You can do a bunch of math operations if you wanted to. And having it readable, spaces don't change shit. Outside of the quotation marks, I should say. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about here? We talked about the Booleans with the false and the true. Okay, so int, I'm gonna put another space in here. Float, double, char, bool. These are fundamental data types. Strings are not. A string is a data type where we can use a whole bunch here. I don't have to just put 1 letter. Actually, maybe I should start with this. I should start with char, my name 1. equals David. I didn't even like it. Let me try this, David. Motherfucker. Don't like that either. They used to take this shit. Now it doesn't. The IDE has changed. It used to be able to take this. It's kind of good that it doesn't anymore. It's calling bullshit. But some IDEs might take this. And then I'm going to call this my name too. And without doing the C out, I'm just going to see if it runs. No, it doesn't run anymore. Some IDEs will let this run. They will compile this, but they'll only show the first letter. They'll only pull the first character out.
Yeah, my does
Your version did it?
that. Yeah, my version doesn't make it accessible.
You must have a slightly older version. I'm pretty sure I reinstalled right before class so that I would have the most recent version. For any new students that were coming in, I want to have the same version they did. So strings have this quote right here. Notice the coloring here. Char is in dark or deeper blue. If we look up above, double, integer, the bool, they're all in this like pretty blue. And we get down to string and it's more like a teal. It's telling you the string is not a fundamental data type. And my IDE might let me run this. I'm going to see. Because I haven't done something that I should. It did. It let me run it. Notice how this is looking kind of shitty. Like the print out the screen. You kind of also want to aim for readability. So maybe I should have, when I got to the chars, I should have entered some more spaces. So up here, if I want to like enter some spaces on the screen, I can do a few end lines. And then I can do them again after I'm done doing that little talk on char down here. And I'm actually going to do some spaces in my comments, my code here, so that I can see that like I have a char block here. It's more readable for people using it. Like there's more stuff going on here, but now you'll see when I run it, it separates a little bit more on the screen. In fact, I don't like the Davies at the end. So you might also throw in some C outs at the end. There's another way to get those spaces at the end. So I'm going to get rid of this right here. Well, I'm going to comment it out. And I'm going to include a string literal after this. If you do /n, I'm going to do it 3 times. /n, I need to make a comment here. Or backslash, that's backslash. /n means new line. And if I just put n in the quotation marks, it's just going to do the letter n. But if I use the backslash, it lets me know that there is a special command associated with this character. So /n, /n, /n. Notice I have the 3 spaces now after my name. So you don't need to do end line, stuff like that.
What if you want to have the backslash?
That's a good question. /, oh wait, which one do I want to use? I think it's in the notes we're going to hit in a second. So I'm going to save it for the list of escape characters and shit like that. Because there's more than one, and seeing where to find the list is good. In fact, what if I want to show that slash? I can't just say, it doesn't like that. It still says, motherfucker, the way it's reading this right now, oh, at least they, oh shit, reads that. It's treating like this like a slash space, but if I run this, do I get to see this C out, this line? Will it print? Didn't print. I put another one there. Now it shows it. So if you actually want the / to show on the screen, is that what you were talking about? Because there's other like,
Yeah, there's.
yeah, so that's this treats whatever follows as a special character to do a command. But if you actually just want the / to show up in your printout, you have to do it twice. Because if you do it once, it just goes, nope. What's my command? So that's how that pulls off. Let's see. I'll pause and let you guys absorb that. Hey, Zeus, wake up. I know you didn't just make me help you with all this shit so you can close your eyes. He's over there, his eyes are shut. He looks like, I don't even know if he's awake. I'm not that boring, am I?
You just took a lot of energy out of it.
Right? While you guys are still typing, actually, I don't hear anyone typing. So is everyone done with this? If you're still typing, raise your hand real quick. Okay. God damn it, Jesus. You were sitting there with your eyes shut. Now you want to type it? You're fucking with me now. So while Jesus is typing notes, right after class, there is the chess club from 5 to 6. If you like chess, well, that was a little fucking throw in there for you. Juan wasn't expecting. Juan is El Presidente, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
They actually hold it right next door in 222, and from 6 to like, I don't know, whenever fucking Dr. O gets tired. 11. Friday Night Labs is in a room that's linked directly to the 222. You can follow it through the next door. There's projects and shit that they're doing on Friday Night Labs. Normally I'm there. For some reason, my D&D group had to do D&D on Friday night this week, so I'm not going to be there tonight. But there's food and there's projects that you can work on, and they've done computer science projects in there in the past. They've coded up augmented reality projects. They've done different shit. And it's not just computer stuff, it's engineering and all that. They have food every time. And if you're working on projects and shit, it's good to go put on your resume or applications for other schools where you participate in extracurricular shit, or put it on scholarship applications and stuff like that. It's a good gig. Friday Night Labs is good stuff. I wish they had it when I was in here. I got screwed.
Is that like recent?
It wasn't, well, it's recent enough. It wasn't when I was here.
And is it just like a show up kind of thing?
Just show up. It starts at 6. Food's here generally by 5:30. From 6 to 7, they oftentimes have a presentation. Sometimes it's Dr. O or another faculty member showing off some neat shit. We've had students present research they've done before as interns. Sometimes it's little short workshops on how to use a crazy language. We did a 1 hour lecture on Python last semester, how to use Python. Now, that was very short. It wasn't very long, but is there.
I'll set up a link on this.
Okay, that'll be good. So Juan's gonna put a link in his Discord group to, I assume, to what?
That's it, like, Discord link to
FNL's Discord or FNL's website?
FNL's Discord. I can do the website too.
Okay, well,
I'll do both.
well, the Discord's better.
Yeah.
So Juan's gonna put a link in his Discord chat to the FNL Discord invite, so you can go over and pop over there. It'll be under resources, he says. I'm gonna comment this all out and we're gonna go grab code from our stuff over here. Didn't mean to have that still up on the screen. Fuck. All right, module 2. Let's look at the special characters data types. In fact, we just got done showing how to use the double slash. Oh no, I'm sorry. Those are that. This is making a comment. Here's the doing what we just did, the double backslash. If you wanted to show a quotation mark, single or double, those generally are used to end chars and strings. So if you actually want it to show up in the text, you have to use the backslash. Slash A, if you put slash A and shit you submit to me, like in one of your tests, when you guys submit a project and you put slash A, I'm just gonna fucking mark it 0 because you're gonna startle the shit out of me. Because the first thing I do is I hit run before reading your code to see what happens. So if you fucking scare me, I'm just gonna give you a 0. Be warned, don't alarm my shit. Slash T is pretty good when you want to have a fixed number of spaces each time. Like if you're making your own space table, slash T does a tab. So tab spacing. But this is all in the modules. This was under notes 2A, special characters and data type. Short and just does shorter integers. It only does 2 bytes. This is what I was telling you about how much each byte is worth earlier. It actually tells you how many decimal places and stuff it will hold. 15 digits, 7 digits there. Let's come down and look at this one right here. I already have, wait, what did I comment out over here? Did I just comment out? Yeah, I just commented out that part. I'm going to comment it all out because I want to just pull it directly from copy and paste. So we're going to copy and paste this arithmetic examples demo. So if you want to do this on your own, it'll save you some fucking serious time rather than typing it up. Just copy this bit. And we're going to come here and we're going to check it out. So I'm going to put some spaces here in my text to show that it's separate. Oh, something I didn't say earlier. Up here, I use string. And it ran just fine. It's not supposed to. It's used to the Visual Studios 2022, has updated enough that it allows it, even though it shouldn't, because string is not a fundamental data type. So I'm going to type this up here and show you how to get past it. String is not I already typed that. So string has to be included, or most IDEs. That's what happened with Chimsy last semester. He was using a different one. So to include it, just like we did include IOStream, I'll get rid of the slashes for a second and do include string. That includes the string library and all the commands that go with string library. I wonder if get line was going to work and stuff like that. So you want that in there. Don't assume that all IDEs or other people that are using your program have it automatically set up. If someone copies their code, you should be able to use it. All right, let's come down here and take a look at what they got down here. I'll put it down here as well, even though I don't think it's necessary. In fact, let me go comment it out up above. So we're declaring user number 1 and user number 2 as integers. Can I declare 1 and 2 as an integer? No. So some things don't make sense to declare as an integer. 1 is already an integer, so I can't use it for a variable, right? It's already got a value, so don't use shit that has a value as a variable. Don't use numbers for it, but you can put it after any letter. We can do int x1, and all of a sudden it works. So if you want to have a numbering system in your variable names, you need to include a letter before it. You can't just go int 1. Right. If we could let numbers equal variables, then we could write int 1 equals 3, and we're assigning the variable 1 equal to the value 3, but you look like a fucking moron. I think Python might let you do it. They'll let you declare fucking anything. They'll let you reassign what string and any command means. All right, so we got 2 integers set up. I'm going to get rid of x1 here. And we've got a double setup. So 2 of them that don't have or just no decimals, and 1 with a decimal. We've got a couple couts here. I've got the / or \n to do enter a new line. It should do 2. They're both doing this. This is doing a new line, and n line is doing a new line. And then we have a new one, cn. We didn't cover cn before. Cn is the opposite of cout. It takes input. So from keyboard. So when I run it, the program's going to pause there and wait for me to enter something. Let me run it real quick and show you. So it paused it on, please enter an integer. And notice it looks nice and pretty right there. It's right after it, and I can enter an integer. It says, please enter another integer. Let's go with, I don't know, 2. And now it's going through the rest of the commands here. Notice some of these lines are really like they're taking up a lot of room on the screen. Like this is kind of long, but it's doing it. So let's take a look at what it's doing. It says the sum of 13 plus 2 is 15. That's valid. The difference of 13 minus 2 is 11. That's valid. The product of 13 times 2 is 26. Also correct. The quotient of 13 divided by 2 is 6. That's not right. What is 13 divided by 6? It's 6.5, right? Maybe I should use like an easier number for that we'll all do. We all know. Let me do 5 and 2. Everyone should know 5 and 2. It says the quotient of 5 division like this with a 2 equals 2. And then it says the quotient of 5 percentage times 2 equals 1. What the fuck? And then it says, okay, the quotient without the correction is 2. The real quotient, now it's showing me the real quotient. So let's go take a look at the notes of what's going on. In fact, let me choose a different value a little bit. Let me use 8 and 3 when I run this. Because it might be, or better yet, 9 and 5. You might be able to see what's going on a little bit better. It did the sum, the difference, the product, correct. The quotient is saying it's 1. And then 9 percentage 5 equals 4. Any idea why it says 4 here and it previously said 1? When I did the other one? What would you do in elementary school when you did 9 divided by 5?
Isn't that remainder?
It's the remainder. It's exactly what it is. Good job, Jose. Jose, right?
Been a while to remember it.
It's the remainder. So let's come down here and look at this code real quick. These are kind of long. User number 1 is long variable name, is making it take up the screen quite a bit. User number 2 is making it take up quite a bit on the screen. We come down here and we're doing, it says, it does those normally, and it says quotient equals user number 1 divided by user number 2. This is the command for division. And the asterisk is the command for multiplication. We don't use X like we did in elementary school. We use asterisk and the forward slash. This percentage, so this does what this line right here is doing. Please, 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 let me separate that onto another line. Okay, good. Sometimes if you do the CSCI right and you do, you want a line break, but you don't want it to fuck up the CSCI, hit enter after an insertion operator, and it might make this a little bit more readable. So I'm going to come down here and do this right here as well. And I think I'm going to put the line break somewhere different right here. I'll put it after the text line. So what's going on right here is it's saying, let's divide user number 1 by user number 2. Let's divide an integer by an integer. Integers only store whole numbers. So the output here, output is the whole number. So we're doing 9 divided by 5. The whole number with that division is 1. So that's what it's storing. Quotient is storing 1. There are a couple ways around this. Let's see what we come up with down below. But let me tell you what this one's called. This remainder one is called, does anyone know this is a mathematics thing? Besides Juan. And you probably know it from computer science, not mathematics. Remainder is called modulus or modulo. And that's the percent sign. Symbol represents these. That seems weird, but there is one thing in life that you know really well that you have done modulo or modulus on your entire fucking life, unless you're a military brat child. Time. What? Clocks. Clocks. We go to 12, and when we like the first hour of the day is really 12 midnight in the middle of the night. But then we go 1, 2, 3, and when we get to 11 a.m., it's the 11th hour of the day. We hit 12, it's the 12th hour of the day. And then we reset. We don't say 13 when we hit 1 in the afternoon. We do 13 modulo 12 and get 1. So clocks do modulo 12. Time modulo 12. The way we do it, unless you're in military time where they do a 24-hour clock. Okay, so how do we go about correcting it? It says the quotient without the correction is quotient. So let's run it again and see what's happening here. Maybe we'll pick 7 and 3. So I got a division with 2 and a 1 there. And let's move this so we can see a little bit better. Bring this up right here. MFR. There you go. So the quotient, notice we assigned quotient up here. We didn't have to do it on its own line. We set quotient within a text line to equal the first number divided by the second number, which is kind of neat. We're doing 2 commands in one command in the other. We're assigning quotient its value inside a printout to the screen. And that's what it stored. It didn't store, in this case, 2.333. It stored 2 because it's stored integer division. If you do the real quotient of it, when you want to do it, one way around this is you can cast one of them as a double. Remember how we cast the character as an integer to see what its ASCII key value was? We can also do the same thing with integers to doubles. If we want to say 13 is not just an integer, but like 13.0, we can cast it as a double like this, and it's a temporary assignment as a double. But now it's doing 13, like what we had here, 7 divided by 3. This is now saying like 7.0 divided by 3. And then the quotient's going, okay, now we're doing division with decimals. And so it'll actually store the whole number, the 2.333. And then it's got quotient. Another way of bypassing it is throwing in multiplying by 1.0. Multiplying by 1 doesn't change the value of any number. Multiplying by 1.0 when you're working with integers throws in a decimal. We've generated a way to throw in a decimal, so you don't have to cast it as a double, just multiply by 1.0, and you should still get the same answer. It did.
More decimals? Division thing that adds up to 3 decimals, but you only multiply by 1.0, round to the nearest 10.
Well, I didn't round to the nearest 10th here. So why, in fact, we know 7 divided by 3, this is like the 3 keeps repeating forever, right? It's the repetition bar. We put 7.3 or 2.3 with the bar over, and then 3 goes on forever. Why does it stop here? That's just the default stopping spot for this. But we have ways that we can edit this. So we can do something called include IO manip. Include IO or input, output, manipulation or manipulators. So IO manip, when you include it, allows us to do some other things with it. Maybe I'll leave that up there in case you're typing it. Okay. So I'm going to come down here, and we know that's got, let's see, it's doing 5 decimals. This is how we use IO manipulation. I'm going to do C out. I never remember which comes first, so I always got to look it up. Fixed. Set precision. If I want 8 decimal places, I could say 8. Let's say we're working with money though, and we want to set it to 2. Push it to 2 decimal places. After IO manipulation is quotient. And it cut it down to 3.
So like, instead of 2.3, if it were like 2/3, would it be 6/6 or 6/7?
Say that again?
If there were 2/3, would it go to 6/6 or 6/7?
Ah, that's a good question. Let's take a look. Does it round appropriately? Let's do 8 and 3. It rounds up appropriately. So we can do, and this, when you do fixed set precision 2, it happens for the entire rest of the program. So if you ever want to go back, you know, like need to rechange the set precision. It's kind of handy. I think we have it in our modules, or I know it's in the modules. I'm going to come up here to our course content. We have a link to the handy dandy C++ language tutorial. So I just clicked on this right here, c++.com. It's really fucking handy. I don't remember what I was gonna look up. Oh, I'm an it. If you ever want to know, in fact, when you get to CSCI 2, C++.com is going to be one of your favorite fucking spots. I own it. I just search for it in C++.com. And it's got a lot of commands it'll use. So you can click on them and learn more about each of them. Set precision is what we used. It sets the decimal precision. It even will give you an example. Okay.
If you put fixed, then it does it for the rest of the next, and if you don't put fixed, then always just does it for the next one.
I think so.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's test that. In fact, notice they have here doing it without and then with. So let's test that on ours. Let's take out the fixed. So I'm gonna say quotient. We'll do set precision 2 here without having the fix first. The fix is later on. And then we'll do set precision 8. And then we'll do fixed. How else did they have it here? Set precision 5 and then set precision 9. Let's do that. They actually just did C out fixed. So let's do it the way they did it. They had a C out fixed and then C out set precision 2. And copy again and see what happens when we do 2 and 8, 2 and 8. So the first two don't have the set precision fixed. Then we fixed it, and then we did set precision 2, set precision 8. Let's see what happens. 8 and 3. So not what you expected. So Juan hypothesized that just having fixed or not having the fix there, just doing it, would give us 2 decimal places. But it didn't. It gave us 2 digits. So what happens if we use a 2-digit number already? Let's start with 20. Let's see, how could I end up with a modular, or I want a big number left over. How do I get a bigger number than 12? Uh, 24 mod or 13 mod, no. 23 mod 12. Just use time. That's not what I wanted. Oh, shit, it didn't. In my head, it was going to 1 o'clock and it should have been 11. It's not. No, 23 mod 12 should be 11. Yeah, it is up here. So what's going on here? Oh, it's not doing the remainder anymore. That's why. Okay, let's try this again. To test his theory for the multiple decimal places. Let's do 100 mod 2, 3. All right, so we had set precision 2 without fixed, and it only gave us the whole number. It gave us 2 decimal places. Or 2 places, not 2 decimal places. And then we had set precision 8, and set precision 8 gave us 33 and then 6 threes. So it's doing digits, not places.
So, isn't there like a way to like make it so that only a single line is set precision, but there's also another way to make it so that the entire thing is a single line? It's like fixed set precision.
Yeah, I gotta look it up.
That's that.
Trying to think. I've done it before. Well, it happened here. Like, look, we did see out fixed, then we did set precision 2, and then I did set precision 8. That what you're asking? Oh, you mean
So like if you take off set precision on both of it
right?
and then just put it set precision.
It's gonna go to the regular 4 right away. Actually, notice this has only got 4 threes afterwards. And when we did, so this is worth noting, 33.33333. I'm gonna run it again and I'm gonna do the 7 and the 3. And now it's got the 2 point, and now there's 5 threes rather than 4 threes. It's only doing 6 numbers, 6 digits. So it's setting the number of digits it will show on the screen, which is crazy.
So if you put instead of 7, if you did like 700, put it.
Oh, there it just switched to scientific notation. Look at those cheating sons of bitches. And not even in good form. I lost info. So if you do the fixed and then you do set precision, you're setting a fixed number of decimal places, which is what fixed set it did. Set decimal precision. Or that's what set precision does. Let's go back to IO manip. Set field width might do it. Set W, let's try that. I think that's what you're going for. So let's take a look at see out, set width, 10. And then we're gonna do see out. Let's copy that shit again. In fact, I'm gonna do the one that only says 2 decimal places. So let's see what set width W10 is. It says it sets the field width. And I'm gonna use a number that doesn't fucking repeat. Let's divide by 2. So we know it should just end in 0.5, right? 3 and 2. Should be 1.5. So that's what happened. Oh, we got fixed there. Let me try this. Try this up. Put the C out set width up above. 3 and 2 again. Didn't do shit. So set width didn't do anything that I liked. I don't know. We'll look into that. Something up here I wanted to point out. Let me pause, make sure everyone's done typing. Since I've been running my mouth for a little while. Copy and paste is your fucking friend. When you want to test shit and you just want to change a little bit at a time, copy and paste the line a bunch of times and just edit what you need to change one piece at a time, you know. Rather than typing out this whole line with a 2 and this whole line with an 8, just if you take Redden for CSCI 2, he's fucking notoriously bad for typing everything out again. If it's long enough, he'll fucking copy and paste, but you'll watch him type the same fucking thing. You're like, copy and fucking paste already, Redden. Quit being a scrub. John, yeah. So if you just highlight and you Control C on a PC, or is it the Apple key and C on a Mac? Command C, that's the Apple key. Command C on Mac, it copies, and then Control V pastes, or Command V paste. If you actually want to move the whole fucking thing, like I did here, Control X cuts, and then I can paste it somewhere else. So I can come up and paste it up here. And then so Control C will copy, you leave the original, Control X is just if you want to move the whole fucking line. Right? That's good stuff. Control A. Andy. I fucking didn't know that. Or if I did, I keep forgetting it because I always fucking scroll and highlight. Which is handy if you want to comment out everything. So that's Control A. Fuck, there's another one I wanted to say.
There's a lot. Control Shift arrow.
Oh, I know. I didn't like this user number 1 and user number 2. This seems like a fucking excessively long variable name. So what is it? Control F or Control R? But now Control F and then down switch. And I can tell it to, if I did Control F, I can tell it to go through and find user number 1 and just replace it with usnum 1. And I click the arrow or click this one and it will do all of them. 15 occurrences replaced. And now my code is a fucking hell of a lot shorter. I'll do it with user number 2 and switch it down to 2. So Control F, I think Control R gets you the same screen. Control F, and then when you're done, or when you do it, like Control F, you have to click the drop down arrow. If I hit Control R, that doesn't do it. So it's Control F. That's pretty handy because now all this shit that was taking up too much screen space on the screen, I could probably get away with having it on one line. If the variable names are too fucking long, you're like, what the fuck? Or you find out later on, you're like, God damn it, I wanted to call it something different. I had something specific in mind. And you've got the variable in there like fucking 80 times. And you're just like, I do not want to go through and fucking redo it all. You won't until you're like, oh, Control F, and I can do it all at once. Yeah. So Control F and doing that drop down will do the replace thing. Okay, so something else I wanted to point out. Notice how the program has run. When I do the cout plus enter an integer : I've got the space and I don't have an end line. Look how it looks nice and neat when you're entering it. Back, let me close this and start it again just to show. The prompt here doesn't have the end line, and there's actually a space typed in right here. There's a space typed in, and so the cursor doesn't appear right next to the fucking colon. That pro tip, do that when you're taking input. Because check out how fucking horrible this looks. If I just do, first off, without the space. And now I do 7 and 3. That shit looks fucking funny. 7 and 3 is a little harder to read. And now look at how bad it is if you put in an end line. It doesn't look too bad, but it can start filling up your screen pretty fucking quick. A little bit more to add here. Let me see if I have any code that I wanted to use for it in my modules. Or if we're just gonna wing this shit. Training strings from users. So let's go down and take a look at notes 2B. We got 15 minutes. I can go through this pretty quick. I'm going to hit Control A like a champ and comment all that shit out. And then I will copy and paste notes 2B here. Okay, so it's got include IO stream, include string, include IO manip. I guess I started talking about IO manip early. For some reason, it's all fucking pissed off. Is it though? What's going on? Why is it mad? Or is it just, it's just being a dick? Yeah, it's just being a dick. There's nothing wrong with my shit. Let's try this. Oh, notice this is different. Every time I've done int main void, I've had the curly brace after that. But you don't have to. You can have it down here. It's a personal style kind of thing. I wish it wasn't doing that, because it makes lecture fucking a pain in the ass. All right, so string username. So it's making a username, and then it's going to prompt me for my username, full name. So I'll use David Jones. And then cin takes in access or input from the keyboard, and it's going to store whatever I type in the username. Now let's take a look at what happens when I do that. And then it does a C out of what I've got. So my full name, well, that's not my full name, but it's enough to show what I want. It says my name is David. I fucking told it David Jones. What's stored in it should have been David Jones, if cin worked the way it's supposed to. Strings do something a little bit different. So if I want to get in a string, a better way of doing this, I'm going to copy this down below. And I'm going to say your name with, the command is getLine. Your name with getLine is. So we're going to do getLine cin username. Oops. This is a regular cin, basically. accept command or accept characters from the input, but we'll store spaces as well. It's only supposed to be used for strings. So now when I do it, let me pause, make sure everyone's typed that real quick. Okay. I'm gonna run it. So now when I enter my full name, the first time it's fucking up. Oh no, it really fucked up. The space stored it as a new, it treated it as the next CN. So when I typed David Jones and I didn't use get line, it stored it as the next CN when I had another CN use. So let's comment these two bastards out. Now when I enter David Jones, it knew my whole name was David Jones. So get line works on the whole thing. Does it work on other things? Let's take a look. Let's explore in X equals 12. See out X. Then let's do get line CN X. And then see out new X is. So, because remember, we can reassign values at any time, and that includes with user input. So whoever's running the program, you can keep reassigning values there. Just like you can oftentimes change your name more than once in like character creation or character resetting it when you're playing lots of games. It's not creating a new variable for where your character's name is stored. It's just typing over what you did the fucking first time. Does it work with X right here? No. If I comment out get line with the X, it works. So get line only works with strings. Okay. It makes it so you can enter spaces and stuff. Any questions on that? We already did the fixed set precision, so I'm going to comment out all that now. You guys ready for more?
Always.
So this one right here. Let's grab this one. It's further down on notes 2B. Okay, so this program has the include IO string, no IO manip, include string. I didn't tell you about constant doubles. When we declare a variable before the main and give it a constant, it's unchangeable. It's immutable. You cannot reassign this one to a new value. Really, the only good times to use this is when something isn't changing, like setting a global pi. This is called a global variable. Global constant variable. Global because it's at the top, so it's going to affect everything that comes after it. If you only use it in the main, it's only going to affect shit in the main.
We
Uh,
actually fully capitalized it.
Some people like to do that, fully capitalize global constants. This is really long and I'm not going to take it because we only got 5 minutes. But let's go through and see what it's doing. It says we've got variables for square feet, cubic yards, which a yard is 3 feet. So a cubic yard is 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, which is 27 cubic feet. So a cubic yard is 27 cubic feet. There's a variable for total price and depth. Depth is in inches, everything else is in feet or yards. So it told us what the depth is in. Please enter the customer's name, do square feet. Now enter the number of inches deep. And let's see what happens when we run it. David Jones. Let's say we're doing 100 square feet. Nice, simple fucking number. And we want it to be, I don't know, 7 inches deep. It says number of cubic yards needed equals 0. So if I want to buy mulch, even though I said I have 100 feet with 7 inches deep, I need 0 cubic yards. What's going wrong here? We've got cubic feet equals square feet divided by depth divided by 12. So let's come and look up here. Depth is an integer. Everything else was a double. So when we get here, it's dividing 7 by 12. And it's rounding down because it's an integer, it's doing integer division. And integer division always rounds down. Because 7 over 12 is over half. It should round up if we do normal rounding. Integer division always rounds down. So that's fucking it up. It says there's no cubic feet. So this is screwing this up. And even though this is technically what we're doing. So the computer's doing the math that we're telling it to do, but it's not working. So what if we throw in that 1.0 and multiply? Now we do it. And we say, oh, I said my name was 100. Fuck it, they took it. Now it's calculating my number of cubic yards. I assume more correctly. Yeah, because a cubic yard is 27 cubic feet. So it says I need 4 of the 27 cubic feet, which is a lot of fucking cubic feet. That's like over 100 cubic feet. But now it's doing it correctly and has the decimals, and so now we can get the total price. So just keep that shit in mind. Integer division will fuck you up. But sometimes you want to enter integers. Entering a double is weird. All right. It looks like it's fucking 5 o'clock. Let's call it a show. And Chess is next door, room next door. If you go down the hall, like go to this door this way, walk down, the Mesa doors or the FNL, Friday Night Labs room is already open. You'll see people congregating in there. If you are not interested in chess. If you're interested in chess, follow Juan and he'll show you where it is. And then he'll show you how to get to the Friday Night Lab if you're interested. Peace out. Let me hit stop record. No, I didn't.
Because I took this class before, and right before COVID hit. That's when I got.
No, it's a different.